Good afternoon, and welcome to the 14th Annual Land Lighting Ceremony at Union College. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, what am I doing here? I'm a nursing student. I have things to do. I have an exam this week. I have clinicals. I have Kaplan. I have care plans, and more clinicals, and more Kaplan. That's all true. Today, I want you to just turn off the to-do list for 45 minutes and not think about what you have to do, but be present with us. Take this as an opportunity to think about who we are, not just simply what we do. You are at the halfway point of this nursing program. Not the finish line, but you're halfway there. And you have worked very hard to get to this point. So, take a deep breath, turn off those voices in the head, listen to the readings that are presented by your classmates. Be grateful for the gathering around you. You have Dean Oros, Dean Holker, faculty, and all of you, and of course the beautiful music of Ted Steiner. So, without further ado, I welcome Dean Oros to extend some greetings to you on behalf of the President.
Good afternoon. It's nice to see you all, actually half of you. It makes it a little more challenging finding names when I can only see from the eyes up. Congratulations on this event. I've come to many of these over the years, since when the nursing program began, and recognizing it's the halfway point. I always enjoy the stories and a little bit of the history that you get with related to nursing with this event. And so, and in your leisure to have this opportunity to be, or that you're recognizing your halfway point, that little extra motivation to keep going on, knowing how difficult your major is and how, as you move forward with it. So, I'm privileged to be here. Dr. Pressman, I'm sorry you couldn't be here yet. An appointment that came up unexpectedly, so no way not miss an event like this. So, anyways, congratulations and enjoy your day. Thank you.
I now invite Cynthia Lewis to lead us in the invocation.
Welcome, everyone. The symbol of a lamp radiating light to overcome the darkness has been used since the beginning of civilization. What's even more powerful, though, is the light in our hearts that overcome the darkness of sickness, pain, prejudice, and suffering. For we are mirrors reflecting Jesus Christ's radiance, the light and warmth of compassion, of comforting, listening, of bathing and cleansing, of medicating, of dressing, feeding, and most of all, of touching. Let us be guided by a verse from Psalm 43. Send forth your light and let your truth, let them guide us as we go forth and care for those in need, often in small, quiet ways. Dear Lord God, please enlighten our eyes to those less fortunate and enable us to be advocates for the poor, the vulnerable, and the hurting. Be with each and every one of us during this lamp lighting ceremony and throughout our entire lives. Help us to feel your warm presence always as we seek to take your light into the world. Amen. At this time, I invite Gianna Cosley up for our first reading.
A reading from Isaiah 61, 1-3. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the afflicted. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to captives and freedom to prisoners, to proclaim the favorable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to grant those who mourn in Zion, giving them a garland instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the mantle of praise instead of a spirit of fainting. So they will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. The word of the Lord. I would like to invite Kylie Snyder to the podium.
Please join me in the responsive song from the words found in the program. The word is a lamp unto my feet and a light for my path. The Lord is my light and my help. Whom should I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Before whom I shall shrink. Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I believe I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Hope in God and take to heart. Hope in the Lord. Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light for my path. There is one thing I ask of the Lord, for this I long to live in the house of the Lord all these days of my life. Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I now invite Blake Lena for the gospel reading.
Hello, everyone. Please stand as you are able. A reading from the Gospel according to Matthew. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you made me welcomed. Naked, and you clothed me. Sick, and you took care of me. In prison, and you came to see me. Then the upright will say to him in reply, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty, and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and make you welcome, or naked and gave you clothing? When was it that we saw you sick and cared for you, or in prison and visited you? And the king will answer them, In truth I tell you, just as you did this to one of the least of those who are members of my family, you did it to me. The Gospel of the Lord. Please be seated. I would like to invite Dr. Sweeney back to the podium.
The lamplighting tradition is a nursing school tradition that marks the halfway point in your nursing education. Now, many schools have done away with the lamplighting ceremony. They think it's sentimental, doesn't have meaning, and they have maybe included lamps at their pinning ceremony. But this lamplighting ceremony was established by Dr. Diane Jellicoe. Now, Dr. Jellicoe really admired Florence Nightingale. If you walked into her office, she had this collection of items all related to Florence Nightingale. She had the tea set. She had the exact replica of Florence's brass lamp. She had many copies of Florence's best-selling book, Notes on Nursing. And then she had this white owl. And I said, Diane, what does that have to do with Florence? Well, of course, this was Florence's pet, a white owl named Athena, goddess of wisdom. Well, of course, when Dr. Jedlicka retired, we could only do one thing, and that is hang her name in the Florence Nightingale Museum in gratitude for what she had done for our program. Dr. Jedlicka would probably not really want to talk about all of her tchotchkes. She wanted this ceremony because she really believed that the Florence Nightingale legacy should be a part of who we are in the Notre Dame College program. She knew that Florence Nightingale's legacy was not in a museum or in a gift shop, that her legacy is in all of you, students of this nursing program. Now, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, that really sounds sentimental. And you may not have even thought about Florence up until today. What could she possibly have in common with all of you? I mean, she was the founder of nursing. She did find Nightingale schools. But the thing about being the founder of nursing, you never have to go to nursing school. She never had to take an exam, write a care plan. She never had to take an NCLEX. She established the curriculum. She was the boss. She lived to be the age of 90. But she only practiced nursing for 3 years. Yeah, she's the founder of modern nursing. She never had to do a pharmacology course. This is 1854, okay? You know, the med cards just weren't there. So, why are we still even talking about her 200 years later? Those 3 years that she practiced nursing laid the foundation for hospital reform and nursing education. Now, the classes may be different, but the legacy, and I think Dr. Jedlicka was right, the legacy is still alive. So let me just tell you briefly what happened in those 3 years. And you actually might recognize some of the tools that she used. She's 34 years old. She's getting her first job. She's summoned by the health minister to attend to the British soldiers in Turkey. There was a war. This was a horrible, horrible battlefield. For every one soldier that was shot in the battlefield, 7 were dying in the hospital. But she was told to just gather some nurses. There was probably going to be 1,700 patients in this hospital. And she decided she would leave her beloved Athena behind and go on this journey. She went to the hospital. She was totally misinformed. The hospital was a long hallway, 4 miles long, crowded with patients. You do the math. 4 miles long, 40 nurses, there were over 4,000 patients. Of course, the nurses she brought with her wanted to go home, but they were in Turkey and that wasn't really going to happen. So Florence did what every one of you would do. She assessed the situation. She didn't run away. She assessed the situation. She looked at the environment, that was big for her, and the patients, and what the patients were receiving in their meals. She looked at the water, and she came up with her own nursing diagnosis. Now, it's not a fancy one, and I doubt that it's in Nanda, but she summed up the problems in the hospital in 3 words: diet, dirt, and drains. That was the problem. She came up with a plan. She ordered 5,000 towels, 100 mops, buckets, disinfectant. She had the sanitation engineer come in to clean out the sewers. I mean, you can imagine all the disease that was going on in that hospital. Crowded conditions, bad water. The soldiers were basically getting broth. So she's in a military hospital. She tells the officers, I need these cleaning supplies. They had no problem giving her those cleaning supplies. It's part of her plan. Then she said, I need a better diet for the soldiers. They cannot heal if we continue to feed them broth twice a day. Well, the military officers, now, they were done with her. They did not want to hear what they had to do from a woman, let alone a civilian, and they drew a line. They said, you're going to just have to deal with what you have. And this is where she did what any one of you would do. She advocated for those soldiers. She was not going to take no for an answer. And they kept on saying no. So one night, her and the nurses actually broke into the storage bins where the officers' foods were kept. And they took the food out, they placed it on the tin trays, and the officers knew that they'd been beaten. It wasn't easy. They also got a letter from the health minister that said, give her anything she asked for. But she knew that having the plan wasn't enough, that you had to have the courage to advocate and do whatever it takes to get your patient what they need. And that is what you all do today. And what's the last step of the nursing process? I'll be so proud of you if you know. The last thing that we do. Well, you're excited. Evaluation. And that's how we get to the lamp. She needed to see that her plan was working. And every night, she would round with this lamp and check on all the sick soldiers. Now, she was there for only 3 years, but she was there for 3 years. And when she returned, she wrote an 800-page report, and that did transform hospitals. And it began nursing programs. So while no one is asking you to bring out the buckets and the disinfectant and mop the floors, we are asking you to do what Florence did. And that is simply looking at your patient, coming up with a diagnosis, coming up with a plan, advocating so that you can get them what they need, and always, always following up. Is this working? What can I do better? When it came to the wounded soldiers, Florence added a heavy dose of compassion. While she may have been evaluating whether or not the plan was working, when she made those rounds, they saw someone who cared. Someone whose face was lit with compassion. And after everything that we've gone through in the last 2 years, we all know how important that is. Even in our invocation, the power of human touch. Those are tools that never get old, because they really are the tools of who we are. You know, classes will change over time, but who we are, we're advocates. We're brave, we have compassion, and we use and we think like a nurse when we're taking care of patients. So, certainly since Florence Nightingale, there have been many pioneers in this profession. many, many firsts. Many nurses who have been told, you don't belong here, who've been ignored. It is the legacy of Nightingale that gives them the strength to push and to stand up for their patients and to stand up for themselves. So today, before you turn on that to-do list, I want to thank you for all the care that you give our patients, for the time that you take studying hard to make sure that you know how to think like a nurse, for getting up early in the morning for those clinicals, and for most of all, being a part of this program. Thank you. I now invite petitions.
The reprisal is, Lord, hear our prayers. That we may open our ears and eyes, our hearts and lives, to strive for social justices as we care for the sick, the poor, the frail, and the powerless. Lord, hear our prayer. That each of us may continue to respect the inherent dignity, worth, and uniqueness of every individual. Lord, hear our prayer. That as nurses, we will preserve the integrity and safety of our patients, maintain competence in our practice, and continue personal and professional growth. Lord, hear our prayer. That we may never forget the gift, the grace, and the blessing of being called to minister the sick. Lord, hear our prayer. That we may become instruments of tender compassion so that our nursing might bring the healing of the body, the mind, and the spirit, and to those who are in sorrow or suffering. Lord, hear our prayer. That the class of 2023 may be renewed and refreshed as they share their light with all that they encounter in their nursing practice. Lord, hear our prayer. I would now like to invite Professor Banville and Professor Papich to present the
At this time, I would like to present the class of 2023. Please hold your applause until all names have been announced. Class of 2023, Leah Beardsley, Madeline Cook, Madison Frazier, Leah Griffith, Blake Kalina, Gianna Costley, Alyssa Kuntz, Mackenzie Levine, Cynthia Lewis, Kirsten Luxick, Francesca Manarino, Dina Montaser, Evian Norman, Hannah Smith, Kylie Snyder, Alexis Whitfield, and M. Zopler.
The blessing that we partake of the blessing is kind of like the second half. Invocation starts us off in prayer, and then the blessing ends in prayer and song. One of the things that reminds me of light is the phrase from the Christophers. It's a Christian charity group, and they put out these little pamphlets and other things. But they have a famous saying: "It is better to light one candle than curse the darkness." And we know there's many kinds of darknesses out there. So I just thought it's a wonderful phrase to remember. So the audience is now invited to extend their hands in blessing for the nursing students. May you carry the light of this lamp in your heart as you extend compassionate care to all you serve. May you go forward strengthened with the confidence of our support for the challenges ahead. May this ceremony inspire your commitment to the Sacred Heart of Healing with the presence of our divine healer, Jesus Christ. May your investment in academic learning and practical experience deepen your understandings and bear fruit in effective care. May the final phases of your professional preparation intensify your readiness for personal, professional, and global responsibility and prepare you for a rich treasure of lifelong learning. We ask blessings also on all who have brought you to this point, whether teachers, mentors, families, or friends. We give thanks for all of you as you set your sights on even greater goals. We pledge all the wonderful resources of Notre Dame College towards your success with the help of our patroness of Notre Dame College, Holy Mary. May we all leave with grateful hearts and deeper sense of our bondedness in great purposes in the days and years ahead. Amen. And if you'd all join together, and we're going to sing the first verse of Here I Am, Lord, and then as we start with the refrain,